Hello.
Hello.
Hi, is that Tim?
Yeah, speaking.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Who am I speaking to?
Giasa?
All right, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Cool. I'm just trying to figure out these grids here quickly. Right, there we go. Cool.
That's okay.
Cool. Are you part of the Energy team, mate, or are you one of the members?
One of the members.
All right, cool. I'm just going to get everybody to just mute, and then once I've figured things out, we'll jump straight into it. So,
No problem.
cool, mate. I'm just going to see if I can mute everybody, mute all. I think that's everybody in. All right, cool. I'm just having a quick look at the screen here to see who I can see. Have a quick flick through. All right, cool. For those with the camera on, we find a couple of you. Just want to see if you can hear me okay. Not many video. Let me see. All right, a few videos here. Fantastic. For those who have a video on, could just give us a quick thumbs up. Just make sure if you can hear me okay, please. Cool, cool. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay, cool. All right, so apologies for the slight delay. The previous session, I think, had finished, but it still showed that it was still running, so I didn't want to jump in and end that session in case caused any hassle. So apologies just for the few minutes delay. Let me go back 70. Just going to keep omitting people that are coming in a little bit late. It's all good. Cool. So we've got, I think, about 75 people in, which is fantastic for kind of peak time, busy night. I'm just going to try to get rid of this quickly, and then I'm just going to get started. So hopefully, excuse my lack of technological know-how. Let's see if my PowerPoint is going to work. No, it's not wanting to play. That's typical. All right, okay. Oh, now it's wanting to play. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So, first of all, just welcome everybody to the nutrition webinar. For those you can see, probably my name is Tim Meadows, and I run a nutrition coaching company called Group X Nutrition. And you can find me obviously on Instagram at that handle, as well as my website as well. So, absolutely delighted to be asked along to come and talk to yourselves tonight, all things sort of nutrition for the next 4 weeks. I'm not going to kind of deliberate too much in the kind of beginning. I'm just going to jump straight in and hopefully give yourselves some really great value to kind of walk away with, a bit of clarity, and you know, a bit of an action plan to kind of use over the next few weeks, months, years as you see fit. So generally, just very about myself, my kind of coaching style is fairly direct. I kind of pride myself on giving clear, concise, and evidence-based information and kind of coaching. I don't generally fluffy things up a little bit or beat around the bush. We kind of just get sort of straight to it. So the fact that we've only got 30 minutes kind of errs to that side as well. So I've got quite a lot of stuff to try and kind of get through. So I do apologize if I speak fairly quickly and get a bit carried away. I'll try not to go off on too many tangents as kind of normally does when I get a bit passionate about nutrition. So the PowerPoint will hopefully kind of keep us fairly on the narrow and steady. And of course, at any time, you can feel free to get in touch or reach out, tomorrow or on the weekend or just whenever if there's anything else that's still percolating at the back of the thoughts. All right, and that's it. So thanks very much for joining your time. Let's make this a good one. So let's jump straight in. Fundamentals of fat loss. No, PowerPoint won't play. Right, so objectives as always. First of all, to give you an insight on how fat loss occurs and avoid the most common mistakes. Help you focus on the 3 fundamentals to support your own fat loss goals. And lastly, provide a clear how-to guide to create your own calorie deficit. Just getting rid of that quick. Sorry. Own calorie deficit. And what every diet has in common. Okay, so along with kind of coaching lines, I've been coaching for well over a decade through sports, and particularly in the PT and also nutrition coaching, particularly in the last 4 to 5 years. And it's all very well talking about, knowledge and experience and what you need to do and what you need to eat. but every good coach should really be able to give you a really good, kind of plan, a how-to guide or some sort of steps to kind of follow. Otherwise, it's all a bit, kind of moot, if that makes sense. So let's jump straight in. So first of all, don't want to go back to school too much, and I'm aware that we'll have a whole host of variety of members on the webinar. So I think it's always important just to sort of cover the basics right at the start and see the appreciation and the understanding when we're talking about energy output and energy in and all the different factors that account for our energy output when we look at a little bit of kind of like foundation 101 stuff in terms of our energy balance. So this stuff isn't really new. It is what it is. It's the kind of like the truth almost, So just got to kind of cover the bases initially, first of all. So let's just jump straight to it. A calorie is a unit of energy, and it's not inherently bad. Okay, I know there might be a bit of scaremongering and a bit of fear factor around this word calorie. Calories are these things that jump out and out of the covers and make clothes fit, make clothes fit real kind of tight, etc., etc. But calorie is essentially just energy, and energy is what we use. It is what we are. Without energy, we're kind of struggling. We're kind of like a dead life form, right? We need energy, 100% to perform bodily functions, to be fit, to be lean, to be anything, just to be human. Okay, so energy and calorie fundamentally important. The whole basis of energy in equals energy out. The simple premise is that you cannot destroy energy. Okay, it just gets transferred from one means into another. So whatever you kind of eat or drink in terms of energy in is going to have to get put out in some manner or aspect across your 4 different aspects, your 4 different factors of your total energy out. So the CICO there is another term. I think it's coined by generally the Americans across the pond, and it essentially stands for calories in versus calories out. Okay, it's not Chico, the pop star singer. It's not Coco Chanel, nothing like that. It is essentially CICO, calories in, calories out. Otherwise, energy in, energy out. All right. We can use the word energy in replace of calories to eliminate the fear or worry about calories. So within nutrition coaching, a lot of kind of clients, they come with, not a great food relationship, a bit of anxiety perhaps, a little bit of guilt, a little bit of worry, a little bit of stress about foods, about what to eat. So anything that we can use and do to eliminate that unnecessary kind of fear or scaremongering of food and calories is a really, really useful thing to do. And that comes with, nutrition coaching isn't just about macros and calories. There's a whole mindset and self-value, self-perception, self-language that comes along with it as well. So this kind of touches on that point just a little bit. Consistent calorie deficit over time will give you a bit of weight loss, just like a consistent calorie surplus over time will give us weight gain, okay, or will help us gain weight. So the key things there, as you can see by the PowerPoint, hopefully, underscored consistent and over time, okay. This will allude to a few points that I'm going to make later on in the presentation, but it's not about being in a calorie deficit for an hour, for 6 hours, or for even a day. It's about being in a calorie deficit for over a week, and then over a kind of month, okay? So we can immediately, hopefully, lose a little bit of sort of stress or focus, or that laser beam focus on what we're doing within an hour or within a day. We can spread it, and we can kind of like just not relax a little bit, but appreciate that it's really what we overdo the whole week is what really counts, as opposed to a single day or a single hour, okay? Yeah, and that's pretty much wraps up that. So it's going to scoosh on. So energy out, otherwise known as TDEE, and that may be a phrase that you maybe heard before if you've been in the gym or fitness circles for a little while. So it sounds really kind of fancy, the TDEE, but it's essentially your energy out, okay? The TEE stands for total daily energy expenditure. This is where one of our common mistakes kind of comes into it. So the assumption, when somebody says, I want to lose a bit of weight, I want to tone down or lean up and all that kind of stuff, get rid of a bit of the excess that you may be carrying from lockdown or from Christmas or whatever else, the assumption is that we immediately need to jump to exercise and training, and WODs, and then it's either HIIT or it's LISS or it's a bit of both, and then it's 2 sessions a day, and then you do a HIIT on a Monday, but you do a LISS on a Tuesday, and we get really complicated about our workouts. And is it a barbell should we use, or is it a kettlebell, or what do we do? Is it impact stuff or low impact stuff? And we get into this little rabbit hole about exercise and thinking that fat loss equals exercise or exercise equals fat loss. So we put a lot of value into that, and it's certainly kind of merited on a certain kind of point, but it doesn't really account for that 70-80% kind of mark, where the majority of members of the public will think that in order to lose weight, you got to do a lot of exercise. You got to go to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week and smash up your body and do a lot of HIIT stuff and all this kind of stuff, because it's all about calories burnt. We have our trackers and our watches and our straps, all that kind of stuff telling us all these calories that we're kind of burning. A lot of them are not that accurate anyway, to be perfectly honest with you. So, but we think exercise 500 calories, great. Now I'm on a weight loss journey. Okay, so it's not wholly incorrect, but there's other aspects at play as well. So as I've already alluded to, so I'll not spend too much time on this kind of topic, or this point. The common mistake is that people put too much focus on reliance on their 1 hour workout than the other 23 hours of the day. Okay, so it's looking at whole lifestyle to your nutrition kind of fat loss goals, as opposed to just getting overly obsessed about my exercise or my training and all that. So a little graph for anybody who's a bit more of a kind of sort of visual learner. We have our 4 aspects, so our 4 keys that constitute our total daily energy expenditure. So our total energy out is across these 4 things. So our metabolism, BMR, our eat and NEAT. So eat is exercise, activity, thermogenesis, and then NEAT is our non-exercise activity, thermogenesis. I generally just call NEAT, with my clients, I use the word lifestyle. Okay, so it's lifestyle activity. So it's your steps, whether you're walking the dog, playing with the kids, doing a bit of gardening, all that stuff. All the stuff that's out with the gym. And then our TEF is a thermal effect of food. Okay, that one's really kind of key, because you can start to influence this energy balance immediately without really doing anything, just by having more protein in your diet, because protein takes 6 times more energy to digest and assimilate than it does for carbs or fats. Okay, so straight away, without cutting out any foods, without doing additional activity, you can immediately start impacting that energy balance towards where you want to go, just by making sure that you're eating enough protein. Okay, fairly simple. And of course, it's plant or animal, it doesn't make a huge difference. Okay, the fact is that it just by the protein structure, it just takes a lot more energy for your body to use and digest. All right, so looking at this kind of numbers there, BMR, so your metabolism accounts for pretty much 2/3, 60 to 65% of your total output. Your exercise accounts for 15 to 20%. Your NEAT, so your steps, your lifestyle, are you on your feet all day, as I said, playing with the kids, taking the dog for a walk, etc., 10 to 15%, so a fair bit. And then your thermal effect of food, again, the same amount, 10 to 15%, okay? So instead of where maybe we should be focusing just on the exercise, we should be focusing pretty much on all 4, all right? And we can, if we put enough focus on our NEAT and our TEF, we can in fact literally have more impact than just our exercise. Okay, so it's not trying to pick one to focus on. Ideally, we want to, if we can improve each one of those 4 aspects by 10, 20%, we're moving accumulatively in a much bigger step forward than just trying to bash out the exercise, if that makes sense. Okay, so it's the whole holistic accumulative effect that we're kind of going for. Most common mistakes, so being coaching for a long while, particularly through nutrition, these are the most common mistakes that I come across on a regular basis, and I think I'll put down 5 common mistakes here, so you may relate to maybe one of them, perhaps. There's a fair chance you'll probably relate to point number 3, perhaps, but maybe you relate to at least kind of 1 or 2 of them, okay? So we'll just quickly run through them, and ideally, these are common mistakes that everybody makes, that I've made before, and that, we all make. But if we're aware of them, then we can be more aware and realize that we don't want to go down this route again. Or perhaps we can obviously share this information with our friends, family, colleagues, etc., etc. So quickly go through these now. So I really spoke about this one. Not going to spend too long about this, but immediately assume that exercise is the key factor to fat loss and put too much value into the 1 hour workout. Okay, so spoke of the one before. We'll just move straight on. This is the one. This is the one that is prime for January, February time, okay? Generally, when we've eaten a bit too much over Christmas, we've not really done much exercise, then we feel a little bit, you know, soft and cuddly and a little bit guilty and all that kind of stuff. And then the New Year resolutions come in. You know, we want to get back to the gym, or we want to start our fitness journey again in earnest. You know, this is the year. You know, every year, this is a year. So what happens is we go from being in a fairly steady state, okay? Then we literally want to double our activity and then half the energy, okay? And I really like to use analogies where possible to try and help relay, you know, the kind of message or what I'm kind of saying. So this one hopefully will kind of work well. Imagine those old-fashioned steam trains, all right, where you're chucking the coal into the furnace, right? So imagine the coal is your energy, that's your food, chucking into the steam train, that's a furnace, and that's you kind of going along the kind of railroad, all right? So you're chucking in, say, 2,000 calories a day, so that's your energy in. You're going, for argument's sake, at 50 mile an hour, okay? Then all of a sudden, I want to go faster, right? Put the foot to the floor, double the activity. Now you want to go 100 mile an hour, but what do? You start cutting calories. You start going on a diet, generally quite a restrictive or drastic calorie diet. You half your energy. So instead of 2,000 calories or, you know, big bundles of coal going into the furnace, you now just have half of that energy. So now you're trying to double your activity and half the energy. Something's got to give, okay? It's a recipe for disaster. You'll initially, for maybe the first week, maybe 2 weeks, you'll feel as if you're going along the right road because the scales will tell you that you lost weight, but you probably more lost a bit of muscle, a bit of water, and because you're hardly eating, there's no substrate in your body, there's no glycogen in your muscle cells. So the scales will certainly tell you that you've lost a few pounds and you'll feel initially really good. And then Struggle City comes along in week 2, week 3, week 4, where this is not sustainable. All right, you're trying to drive fast or drive faster, but you're putting less fuel in the tank. Okay, you don't need to be a train driver or an engineer, a rocket scientist to figure out that this is not going to be a good place to be for any length of time. Okay, so that's something to certainly kind of look out for. Assume the good and the bad approach with nutrition. All right, so if you ever do get onto my Instagram page, you can look back for weeks and months and years, and you'll see that I have a big issue with labeling food as either good or bad. I personally do not like to glorify food or demonize food, okay? A donut is not going to make me overweight, and having a punnet of blueberries is not suddenly going to make me all magical and all conquering either, okay? I like to, with my clients, I talk about it all the time, I use a scale system, a value system from 0 to 10, okay? And yes, we have low value foods, generally things like donuts and whatever else, that have just macros, but don't have many vitamins, minerals, and fiber, okay? So donuts and cookies and stuff. Then on the other side, scale number 10, we have some really high value foods. And these will be your fruits, you know, vegetables, maybe a bit of beef, salmon, legumes, beans, all that kind of stuff, okay? So, but it's just good food, okay? It's just high nutrition food. It's not going to cure cancer or come up with a vaccine or anything like that. It's not going to do anything more than just make you feel good. Then the stuff in the middle, like I would probably say something like pizzas and stuff. You can give them a bit of a moderate value, okay, of 5, 6, or 7. So depending on the pizza, you could have a moderate value food. So it's not this black and white, good or bad, where somebody drew a line down like a whiteboard, a blackboard, and gone, right, bananas, blueberries, you're good, right, donuts, pizzas, you're bad, okay? Nobody's done that to foods. Foods are, you know, not interchangeable, but they just vary on the value. So this, I mean, why this really gets on my chest, really, is because it creates a bit more of a disordered eating mindset. It creates more anxiety and more guilt, where we live in this land of trying to eat good and clean from Monday to Friday, and then the kind of shit hits the fan on the weekend, and then we go and have all our binges and cheat meals and all this kind of stuff, where we undo all of our good work. And then back to Monday, it's the same thing, and it's this little hamster in the wheel going round and around and around. You're not really kind of getting anywhere, okay? So I really try to get my clients to stop using the words good, bad, you know, superfoods and demon foods, and even the words clean as well. It's a tricky thing, because we know what we kind of mean, but nobody really knows what clean means. You know, if it's processed, then somebody would say that almond milk is fairly clean, but almond milk is processed. So that doesn't work. Then clean foods don't have sugar in it. But then you would argue that fruits are really quite clean, like your bananas, your blueberries, and everything else. So it's a conundrum that you don't really want to get involved in, okay? Just go with the food value sense of a bit of common sense, a bit of logic, and assume food value. So yeah, that's point number 3. Number 4, fall into the trap of quick fixes, celebrity diets, water cooler, and Netflix pseudoscience, okay? I'll give you an example, something like fasting, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with fasting. Fasting is a tool, and it's a method to help you eat less calories over 24 hours and over a week, okay? So fasting is fine. I have no particular issue with fasting. What I do have a problem with is when maybe some coaches or some people will go around and say, oh, you've got to do fasting because you secrete less insulin when you fast, okay? And insulin stores fat. And immediately it creates this like, right, okay, insulin is bad, fat is bad, and insulin stores fat. When all of a sudden, the actual truth behind that really is that when you eat food, insulin is secreted, because if you don't, you'll be type 1 diabetic, okay? That's the fact. Insulin is there as a storage hormone to put nutrients into muscle cells when you're not needing it. And then the other hormone called glucagon takes it out of your muscle cells and takes out of storage and into use as ATP when you need it. So these two hormones work in conjunction with one another. Insulin goes this way, glucagon goes this way, okay? So insulin is not inherently bad, and it's not bad at all right? So if you're not eating it, of course insulin will be suppressed because you're not eating. Insulin only comes about when you eat, because that's when food gets into your bloodstream, okay? So, it's this kind of like myth and this kind of like storyline and pseudoscience where people go around spreading this kind of myth and like nonsense that causes a lot of confusion and frustration when there's no science behind it whatsoever, And I say to my clients as well, Netflix is a great thing. My daughter watches Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol on it. Great for entertainment. Probably not the best place to find nutritional information, okay? So yeah, all right. Point number 5, unrealistic expectations from social media comparison life, all right? I call social media comparison life because it's everybody's highlight reel, okay? That can be from celebrities, can be from Instagram kind of influencer type people. It can just be from anybody that you know from work or from school. And the biggest two main issues with that point is that, one, you can be filtered, you can be photoshopped, okay? You get the weird apps now that make your eyes really big and your cheekbones all skinny and all this kind of stuff. All right, so the pictures that you see, 90% of the chance are probably going to be altered or filtered or tweaked in some manner. So you're comparing yourself to something that's not even real, okay? Then secondly, this is where, nutrition coaching, you either got more generic style of coaching or you got real bespoke personal coaching. So what I do with kind of clients is you got to weigh up, for yourself, okay, for anybody out there, your history, your training style, your training history, your food relationship for the last 10 years, your current environment, whether you walk to work, whether you drive to work, all right, your food preferences. There are so many factors, easily 6 to 8 factors that will determine your sort of success or your rate of weight loss or progress, okay? Trying to compare, say, for example, a 30-year-old lad, a 30-year-old gent to a 45-year-old mum with teenage children or whatever else, trying to run her own business or whatever else, is like trying to compare apples and oranges, okay? It's like trying to compare boats to trains. It's just irrelevant. But that's what we will do. We'll be, say, for example, 40-year-old, mum or something, and then we'll compare ourselves to a 22-year-old, girl, female on Instagram, and then try to eat like they eat or try to look like they look like. And it's like, why are you comparing two completely different things? So it's really important to focus on you and what's comfortable for you, as opposed to looking at social media and comparison life and thinking, oh, Susie did X, Y, Z. Susie lost this. Well, that's good for Susie. Susie doesn't have some of the stuff that you've got going on. Susie didn't have 10 years of yo-yo diets, jumping into the Cambridge diet or Weight Watchers or Slimmers World kind of stuff like that. Susie's not had that kind of thing. So you've got to make sure you're comparing the right stuff, if that makes sense. Okay. I'm going to try to run all this through fairly quickly, without getting too bogged down in each point. I'm just aware of the kind of time. But there are 7 points on here on how to create your own calorie deficit, okay? So let's just jump straight into it. Calculate your maintenance set point first, either by using an online calculator like the Harris-Benedict formula or track with a food diary, okay? I'm going to give you some opportunities to find some of the trackers and planners that I use with my clients later on at the end of the presentation. You can use them. You can use an A5 logbook and literally just write down, track like you would do in MyFitnessPal, or you can use MyFitnessPal, obviously, or you can go for a more of a guessed estimation work and go for an online calculator. But essentially what you want to do is track for at least a week, weigh yourself on, say, like Monday morning, dry, okay, weigh yourself, and then eat normally for a week, and then weigh yourself the following kind of Monday. Ideally, if your body has stayed pretty much the same weight, that average daily calorie would pretty much be your maintenance set point, okay? You need to know where you're starting from before you start punching in numbers and start aiming for different targets, okay? Maybe common mistake number 6 is you go, I'm gonna have this many protein, this much carbs, this much fat, this much calories, but you don't know where you are yet, okay? It's like trying to read a map. You know where you're going, but you don't know where you are, if that makes sense, okay? So point number 1, invest 7 days. And again, quick fixes. Who wants to wait 7 days? I want to do it right now. But spend the 7 days putting a kind of diary in, and it will give you such a great start, such a great start. Plus, you'll kind of see what you're eating every day, and you'll see where the kind of gaps are immediately anyway. Estimate your maintenance calories, spoke about that. And then now we implement a deficit. So just like we said right at the kind of start, we need to be in a deficit in order to lose weight, okay? You go for 10, 20, or 30%. That's either going to be a slight, a moderate, or a severe calorie deficit. I wouldn't really go anywhere near the severe one. I would go somewhere between a slight or kind of moderate one, okay? And again, it's over the week. So if your maintenance is 2,000 calories, a 20% deficit would mean that you'll be aiming for around about 1,600. All right, I would picture anywhere between 1,600 and 1,800 to start with and see how you go, okay? You can always increase the deficit, which quickly goes back to the clean thing, okay? So if you stop losing weight eating clean foods, do you A, eat cleaner foods, or B, eat less calories? Okay, it's going to be less calories. So calories is the king, okay? That's why it kind of defunks the clean thing, because you can actually gain weight eating clean foods, all right? Being a calorie surplus, eating chicken, broccoli, and rice, you're going to gain weight because it's the calories that determine that, not if somebody called it clean or not, okay? Anyway, slight tangent. Next, you're going to set protein between 1.6, that's not 126, that should be 1.6, my apologies, 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram body weight. Okay, very quick one on this. If you are quite overweight, so your muscle mass to like fat mass, if you are maybe 2 stone plus kind of overweight, you want to be erring on the lower side of that kind of number, because you don't really want to be accounting for protein for fat mass. You want protein for your lean muscle mass, okay? Otherwise you can end up getting some really high numbers. Plan your meals or snacks, monitor and track. That's the biggest thing. Monitor and track, okay? If you're from the business world, you probably have heard of things called KPIs, key performance indicators. In the nutrition world, things like energy, mood, sleep, recovery, okay? Those are your kind of KPIs. So while you're going through your deficit in the first couple of days, first week or two, monitor and track, okay? Monitor and track. You know, how did you feel the next morning? How did you sleep? All this kind of stuff. How did you feel at the gym, etc., etc., etc. And you will know whether you've gone a bit too steep on your deficit or whether you're just like in the right place, okay? Use your calories and energy allowance like a monetary budget. So that's pretty much it. If you've got 2,000 calories to play with every day, it's like getting a budget, getting paid at the end of the month. You've now got 30 days to make that, whatever, let's call it $2,000 a month to kind of make it last. If you blow a lot of your cash in the first week, okay, then you're going to have to struggle towards the end. Otherwise, you're going to be going into debt. So you can apply that kind of like a little bit of common sense with that one. All right, just having a quick look. What time were we? Right, not too far away. What every diet has in common, right? Excuse my sarcasm here, but top secret information, okay? This is pretty much it. They're trying to get you to eat less calories. That is it, okay? Every diet in the world has that objective, okay? Whether it's a keto diet or whether it's any one of the kind of like Cambridge, Weight Watchers, Slimmers Walk kind of thing, Atkins, any and every diet, reverse dieting, carb loading, carb cycling, any diet is going to try to get you to do that, okay? So all that really is this. Diets are like cars. They all do the same thing. If you're going to pick one that suits your lifestyle. Do not blindly follow a car on Facebook or your Instagram crush, okay? That's pretty much it, all right? So, like I said, you got intermittent fasting, you got keto, you got, 4 or 5 different diets. Any good coach would kind of look at you as a person, all right? Ask the questions, get a bit of a questionnaire, get a bit of a background, get a bit of a goals and environment and everything that's happening, and then decide which diet or which approach would best suit you, because you are different to the other people around you, or in your workplace, in your family, all that kind of stuff. So it shouldn't be one generic thing where people go, oh, fasting's the best thing, you must try it. It's like, well, might work for you, but what I really like is this diet or this approach or whatever, okay? So just take that away with yourself if nothing else. There is also capacity for some coaches to overcomplicate in order to create a perception of superior knowledge or strategies, okay? Sometimes people try to reinvent the wheel. They try to maybe sell a couple of products or just try to perceive themselves as advanced or overcomplicate stuff just for the sake of overcomplicating stuff, when the basic nuts and bolts of fat loss have not changed for the last 50, 60 years, okay? Calorie deficit, try eat more moderate to high value foods where you can and find what kind of works for you. Make sure it's consistent, make sure it's sustainable, and make sure you don't stress too much just on your exercise. Look at it as a whole lifestyle kind of change as well, okay? So very quickly, the top 3 fundamentals, fat loss, covered pretty much most of these in a roundabout way, so hopefully it won't take too long. We're nearly there. Make nutrition a priority, use exercise and your lifestyle to support your fat loss goal. Okay, some people say nutrition is 60% of the goal. Some people say 70, 80. It doesn't make a difference. Nutrition is obviously huge, but support exercise, lifestyle activity to kind of help you head in the right direction. Okay, it's more like a team effort, the accumulative effect. Adequate protein, fruit and veg intake. That's pretty much it. Bump up the protein to make sure that you take advantage of the more energy requirement to actually digest and assimilate protein. There's also the reason why protein kind of gets a lot of mention, okay? It's because your body cannot store amino acids. Your body can store carbs and it can store fat. It cannot store amino acids, which is the building blocks of protein. So therefore, practically, it is better to try and have adequate feedings of protein throughout the day, okay? 3, 4, or 5, decent servings of protein of 25 to 35 grams regularly throughout the day has a massive impact towards your kind of fat loss goals, okay? Massive impact towards that. Fruit and veg, we know we need to eat fruit and veggies. Nothing else changes. Since we were kids and our grands and aunties told us and moms told us to eat a fruit and veg, it's the same deal, okay? Pick your favorite 2 or 3 and try to get them as often as you can. A bit of variety where possible, and that's it, okay? Stuff that you already know. Avoid extremes, unnecessary restriction, demonizing and glorifying foods, detoxes, and whatever Gwyneth Paltrow says. Okay? That's it. Okay? Davina McCall, Gwyneth Paltrow, stay in your lane. Don't worry about it. Okay? Detoxes, you don't need to detox. Okay? If your body's full of toxins, you're in a bad state, you should probably be in hospital. Okay? What your 3-day flushes literally do, excuse my French, but it makes you kind of shit a lot, okay? When you're dehydrated and you shit a lot, you lose weight, okay? And it sounds great. Yay, lost 5 pounds. No, you just emptied your guts, okay? It's not in a good place, okay? Unnecessary restriction. So again, why make things difficult that's not needed? You can still enjoy your favorite foods. You just got to be aware of things like portion control, okay? And a bit of common sense. Don't demonize or glorify foods, okay? There's just no real kind of need. Use that food value graph or kind of mindset, low, moderate, and high nutrition foods, and avoid extremes. If anybody says to you, you need to eat this much, and it sounds really drastic, and it sounds really like far-fetched, just walk away, okay? Walk away. The problem with this is, as a sale or to market something, it sounds really sexy when you have something drastic and extreme. Nobody's going to be selling common sense, okay? Nobody sells common sense. This is the problem. Common sense isn't sexy enough. But, fasting and omitting fats or omitting carbs or leaving out protein, whatever else, that sounds a lot more appealing, So free resources. So this is where you can get some trackers, some planners, tons of recipes. What else? Videos, other webinars, stuff about carbs, stuff about protein, stuff about fruits and veg, supplement info, whatever else. Just jump on and use whatever you fancy. Okay. Everything comes off of the Instagram bio link, and you can jump on and get whatever you kind of fancy. Okay. And that's it. I think we're just about on time, which has amazed me, to be fair, for 30 minutes. But hopefully we've covered all of the objectives, insight into how fat loss occurs. We've covered the three main fundamentals to support your own fat loss goals. And we've given you a clear how-to guide to create your calorie deficit. All right, and whatever diet has in common. So hopefully that is it. I'm not going to open up to too many kind of questions. If you have any questions or want to reach out, feel free to get in touch with myself. Otherwise, it's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully, I'll be seeing most of you in the next couple of Thursdays, the next 3 Thursdays. I can't remember the exact order. It's definitely about supplements, one of them. Strategies to maximize, I think, muscle growth and performance. And then myths as well, one of my favorite topics, just busting myths and kind of giving you basically the evidence of where you really need to kind of focus your time, money, and effort into. Okay, so hopefully I'll see all of you again. Feel free to feedback anything through to, I believe Marcus. And that's it, really. I'm not going to keep yourselves any longer. I appreciate it's Thursday night. So thank you very, very much. I hope it's been worthwhile. And yeah, I shall see you soon. We'll see you next week, in fact. See you next week. All right, stay safe. Talk soon.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
No worries at all. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Cheers, cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Bye.